Hello everyone, my name is Fox. This is going to be my review of the Snail i7S. Very quickly, I can very much recommend this device. It is the best gaming phone out on the market today. Not that there are a lot of gaming phones. I do not consider a gaming phone something that is just a rectangle with high-end specs. That is not a gaming phone to me. A gaming phone is something that has game controls built onto it, much like Sony's Xperia Play, aka the PlayStation phone. Snail, if you could make a device that had a slide-out gamepad, obviously this is what I want. I want this, but with this form factor. Having something that is this large is not great. So while, yes, I can recommend this device very quickly, there are two main problems with it. Number one, the size. The size is gigantic, and especially because the analog nubs stick out. I have a bad problem every time I pick out this out of my pocket. It pulls my pockets out, which is hilarious and also annoying. You just saw it compared to the PS Vita. It's larger than that because it's a 6-inch screen and you have controls on the side. So Snail, if you could really just make a slide-out gamepad, especially with a bezel-less display, with a super large display, that would be the best device ever. For people that were following my channel, they know that I took the Sprint variant of the Samsung Galaxy S1. This had a slide-out keyboard, but I just took out all those keys, and then you can just map them in-game on different emulators to kind of have that work. That was the $13 retro video that I had made. This is the JXD S5800, and this is another gaming phone that was pretty poor. The Android build that was on here was terrible. The controls weren't very good. Didn't work with T-Mobile's 4G. Even 3G was spotty at best. This is Snail's iReadyGo, the Much W1, if I recall correctly. The D-pads on these were really good. This also only had L1 and R1 on here. So this was one of Snail's first attempt. Snail has been making a bunch of gaming phones, and pretty much they seem to be the only ones actually trying to produce actual gaming phones in the market at the moment. Here is Snail's W3D. This is a phone that they were going to basically come out with their first US version of the phone. They were going to have a California presence. This is the Snail W3D. This had all 4 shoulder buttons, as you can see right here. Sorry that my reflection is right in the glass over there. You can see all 4 here. The D-pad on this was super awesome. One nice thing about this was that this operated like the Nintendo 3DS's 3D screen in that it also has a little IR camera that is a camera that's looking at your eyes and adjusting the screen so that 3D is working without glasses necessary. Really awesome, and it had the benefit of having a much higher resolution. So think of the new Nintendo 3DS quality, but with a much higher resolution screen. It's actually super nice. Unfortunate that it never came out to the US market. It was competitive enough when the time came out with regard to chipset. If we talk about the build quality on the Snail i7S, mostly I'm very happy. So this is using Qualcomm's Snapdragon 710. What that means to you is that CPU-wise, we are looking at a very 2008 class CPU on the SoC. What that means is, so my minimum threshold for a worthwhile Android device, especially for snappiness, is Snapdragon 835 or better. This CPU is a little bit better than the Snapdragon 835, so it meets that requirement. The other thing is that it does work on T-Mobile's 4G LTE, which is another big requirement for me for phones, especially because data is constantly used for my devices when I use for a phone. So if it didn't even have that, then this wouldn't even enter into anything. I wouldn't even be using this device. I have been using this device as my phone for about 2 weeks right now, and I'm going to make the full jump and use this exclusively as my phone going forward. Unfortunately, the camera is terrible. And there is just no way about that. It is for emergency use only. I'm not going to enjoy taking pictures. I'm going to try to take as best a picture that I can. I'm going to Disney World in a little bit, so I'll try to see if I can do anything there, and I'll try to submit some stuff on YouTube so you guys can take a look at that. Just know that the cameras are garbage. However, so the D-pad is unfortunately a step down compared to the W3D. I find this to be, perhaps it's just the way of how I'm holding it and using it, but it's not as good. It's fine, it's serviceable, it's decent, but I found the W3D to be extremely accurate. Come on, baby, focus. And then obviously you only have L1 and R1 here, so for people that, for whatever reason, absolutely need all 4 shoulder buttons, this is not going to be the case for you. What I've been doing is I've just been putting in RetroArch the virtual controls for L2 and R2 up here, and it's largely serviceable to me, so I don't really notice it or mind too much. The size of it is the big thing, and the camera are the biggest things for me. Because we're using Qualcomm's radios and modems, Bluetooth works just fine. Navigation, GPS works just fine. Everything is really good. The GPU is lackluster. It's about half the performance of the Snapdragon 835. So native Android games that are graphics heavy, you're going to be having to lower the quality on those just to make them playable. If we were to talk about the 3.5mm audio jack, this is amazing. The sound output, how loud it can get. I'm so glad that China doesn't really have very many regulations, because I actually had to lower the volume on mine a little when I went to the gym. It is satisfyingly loud. Thank you so much for actually having that. The USB-C, I tried audio out via headset, and unfortunately that doesn't carry as well as a 3.5mm. This sounds kind of similar to other USB-C headset outs, so it seems like it's a separate subsystem that is driving that, and it won't get as loud. It gets loud enough, you know, in class with other things that are using USB-C for that. Let's go ahead and quickly take a look at the Giganto battery on this, as well as some other things on here, so that I can give you some advice. Go ahead and take this out. Now the battery is removable, so you can update it if you wanted to. Let me go ahead and turn that off. There we go. Here you can see the Giganto battery. Here you can see my T-Mobile SIM. Right here is a second SIM card where I think I'm going to get Freedom Pop. Freedom Pop is they offer a free service. It is free. You just have to buy the SIM first, and then they also charge like a pay-as-you-go plan. They are now using AT&T service, which is pretty awesome, and they're no longer using Sprint. So I think I'm going to go ahead and try that, especially when I lose service, and I'll be able to have the best of both worlds. Right here you can see the micro SD card slot. You have your dual firing speakers, which also get pretty loud. The micro SD card slot works fine. However, there is one caveat, especially with the newest software that came out, which is pretty new and just came out just recently. You can't really go over 256 gigabytes on the micro SD card itself. You'll start having issues and errors when trying to store data on there. So I am using a 200 gigabyte micro SD card, and that's working just fine right now. So that is another thing to be mindful of. Just taking this out of there just so that no one's taking a look at my Pacewood and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and test again here. We're going to be testing T-Mobile's 4G LTE right now. You can see that we are indeed using 4G. This is not Wi-Fi. You can see my current speed. Before I was getting 30 megabits, so it could just be that we have congestion right now. Let's see what the upload is. And you can see that we're getting 30 megabit on upload. So it's probably just congestion for the download speed right now, but my upload, basically I'm getting 30-ish megabits right where I am. I am extremely close to New York City. So you can see New York right there. You can see my latency. This is more than enough, especially for game streaming, especially now that Stadia is coming out, GeForce Now. There's a lot of streaming services that if you want to just play PC games, this is also another viable alternative that if you wanted to do that. Let me go ahead and get into the battery real quick. This is the star of the show because it has such a gigantic battery, and using Snapdragon 710, which isn't such a... Jeez Louise. The problems of using a phone. It's actually active as my phone right now. My wife just texted me. You can see now this is last charge. I haven't plugged it in since 1 day and 6 hours ago, 1 day and 7 hours ago, and we're still at 50%. If we go ahead and jump into here, you can see like my commute going in my day, and then yeah, so this is my first day. This is my commute coming in, being at work, my commute back home and being at the gym, then me being asleep, and then me going back to the gym. And we're at like 50%. If we back out of here and go to the bottom, you can see that Call of Duty is 11%, RetroArch is 11%. These two things are the things that I was doing on my commute and are taking the most amount of battery. It's such a large battery, and it's so nice that even if you're going to be playing for hours at a clip, you have enough juice here to be doing something like that. Let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and open up Call of Duty. So now here's an interesting thing that, especially with the new version, this is new with the new version that just came out, which is I'm kind of glad that I had an initial problem with the i7S that came to me. Snail sent out another model to me that is now fixed. This one has an updated much interface where you can see that little slide out thing. Here's the cloud scheme. So what you can do is you can just click the much scheme from the cloud scheme, and it will, you just press the little green button, and it will auto deploy all of these buttons. For people that aren't aware of this, what we're doing here, so right here you can see this little key is a circle with a dot in it, and if we look right here, there's a circle with a dot in it. When I press this button, it acts as a touch on here. And what it is because Call of Duty Mobile, when they got out of beta, they no longer allowed people to use gamepad support, because this does advertise itself as an Xbox 360 controller. If we just go here, we can still make it work. So this is my kill-death ratio, and you can see that it's just hilarious. Obviously, I'm playing just new people, so these are all people that are pretty new. But you can see like 32 kills, 6 deaths, 39 kills, 5 deaths, 32 kills, 3 deaths. My kill-to-death ratio is insane. You can see my score on all of these. It's just absolutely hilarious. I have been tweaking the sensitivity, which is absolutely important because the sensitivity is gauged for touch. So I have been lowering this like crazy. For anyone that has played the touch version of this, they're going to have way higher controls. Let's go ahead and we'll just jump into a game real quick so we can see how this looks. Start. Now I have just tweaked my sensitivity lately. So I might not be fully used to this just yet. It might be a little bit slower than I'm used to. But before it was kind of like just kind of going all over the place. Again, I am using T-Mobile's 4G to play this online game right now. So we're going to be going right here. In the description field, if you want to just jump ahead of this and not look at this, I'll kind of segment everything into time zones so you can just kind of click wherever you want. Right now we're just going to do a full round of Call of Duty Mobile. I'll go ahead and select. And then I'll show you RetroArch where I've been playing. I've been doing Secret of Mana. We'll do PSP and also some Dolphin GameCube emulation and end this review. Largely, this is pretty much the end of it. I can recommend it if we're just going to kind of go through demos of stuff and just see how everything is. Oh. Goodness. Ooh, hold on one second. Let me got someone home. Just so that someone doesn't burst in here. Goodness gravy. There's a guy right on our base. Predator missile. Will I even be able to use this? Too close, fight harder. Oh, son of a biscuit. I need my teammates to stop feeding themselves to these guys. Trying to crouch and then the game helpfully lets me slide. Oh, goodness crazy. This guy's coming in with a flamethrower. Game's almost over. Game's over. So now we're gonna, let me go ahead and just, oh, this is me getting the kill. So right now I'm pretty much happy with the sensitivity. You should lower it a lot because otherwise you're gonna be going flying all over the place. Let me see, I think I should be MVP. I think I did okay. Again, because people are playing with touch controls, I am very much cheating here, but it is kind of sweet. But there are some people that are actually pretty good with, oh no, I came in second. Good job, Captain Perdomo. This guy's touch-based. So let me go ahead and exit this and get all my jazz and level upping times. And next out of this, confirm, great, super awesome. Exit that, great. Let me go ahead and do that. Now then, we will go here, and I'll jump into RetroArch real quick, and we'll see my game. So I have been playing Secret of Mana, and I have been using retro achievements, and you can see that I just jumped straight in my game. RetroArch is pretty awesome. Everything works just fine. I also have set up this key, especially for Super Nintendo stuff, that I can rewind and, you know, doing save states and everything. So we can just jump out of here real quick. We'll go to, not this one, not that one, achievements. Oh, wait, let me go into the game. Load recent, quick menu, achievements, and you can see all the ones that I've unlocked already. And this is using retro achievements. I really do recommend that. I should really make a video on that separately. This works just fine. Obviously, you should anticipate Super Nintendo emulation to be pretty straightforward. We'll go ahead and look into PSP emulation. We'll go ahead and load this. Let me back out of this so that I can just load the state just so you can see where this is. Right now I am running 2x native resolution of PSP. This is using the Vulkan backend, though I haven't found Vulkan to be that awesome. OpenGL ES is kind of the preferred, even on Qualcomm stuff. And then on the top right you can see my frame rate. And this game is one of the harder games for emulation on PSP, so if we can kind of hit this in a nice manner, then a lot of PSP games are just gonna run. So this is pretty straightforward. Play a little bit of this just so you guys can see performance and stuff. Few hitches, but largely super playable. Yep. So we can see that. We'll go ahead, and now obviously there's other Android ports like Stardew Valley. This is the Android build. I'm not doing anything else. I'm not streaming the game. There's nothing to be done. You would just go ahead and start playing the game, and it just supports the gamepad natively. Now, one thing to note. Let me go ahead and load my game, which I just started real quick. One thing, yes, please. One thing worth noting. Hey, what's going on, guys? One thing worth noting is that every game that is installed by default will have much's like classifications, so they'll kind of like limit the controller and also apply the much's that virtual screen thing on there automatically. So if we go out of here and we go into here, one thing you can do, so you can do the do yourself to kind of map all the stuff, but if you just jump into app info and you go to key adapter support, what you're going to want to do is set that to close. If you set it to only horizontal, when it's like this, it won't apply those much virtual controls to it. It'll only do it when it's horizontal, this is by default only horizontal. For a lot of different games, you're going to want to do close, and then you have auto start, run in background. These are the types of things if you have, especially if you have, important apps like Slack or something where you need a messaging app and you need it to absolutely notify you of what's going on. 100% you're going to need that. Finishing off, we can take a look at Dolphin emulation. This is not something that you really should be anticipating that is going to run very well. It doesn't. It's going to be hit and miss. I'm going to go ahead and load up Wind Waker because that's a game that is 3D but actually runs fairly decently. Alrighty, so we're in here, and you can kind of see general performance is acceptable. It's not the best, but we're fluctuating a lot. I am using OpenGL ES as that is a bit better than using Vulkan. Again, don't anticipate a lot of things playing. This does run well for what it is, but we can very quickly just show you, like, there's going to be, especially as a lot of the other parts of this game are getting a little bit more intense. Largely what I want to say is that I wouldn't depend on Dolphin emulation working on the Snail i7S at all. It's going to need, maybe if there are some like Vulkan hacks that the developers do, which I know there's been talks around, perhaps that, or if the video driver gets updated by Snail to whatever Snap Qualcomm updates their stuff to actually have better Vulkan support. Right now, I don't think I could possibly say with any type of reasonable doubt that you'll be able to play a lot of games or even serviceable. I'm going to say that, you know, basically I wouldn't really do it. What you're going to want to kind of focus on is the European versions of GameCube games, because those run at 25 frames a second. The resolution is a bit different, but it doesn't really matter as much. You can see that we're hitting 25 frames up here. Come on, focus, please. Or 50 frames. This is the European version, so we don't have to hit 30 or 60. That's it. One thing that you should know, so the Much Game Helper, this thing right here, and even in here you can see all of the like only horizontal. Every time that, so like visual voicemail, this is T-Mobile's visual voicemail. I just downloaded that, and by default it automatically applies this only horizontal thing to it. One thing that you're going to want to do for any apps that you care about, you don't want to jump into to the app info. You're going to want to hit run in background, and you're also going to want to go to battery, and you're going to want to go to battery optimization, go to all apps, and you're going to want to select the app that you want, and you're going to say don't optimize, because when the Snail is going to be very, very hard on a lot of apps, to its credit, it's actually my preferred way of doing it. It will actually really lock down a lot of apps, which is awesome. It's just that you have to be mindful of, like, even notifications for different apps are not going to be present. You'll have to forcefully enable specific apps that will annoy you with a notification. Overall, it's my preference. The battery life is awesome and fantastic on this. I can recommend the Snail i7S. I am using it currently as my phone, and I'm going to for the foreseeable future. I don't plan on going back to the Pixel 3. I don't know what I'm going to do about a camera right now. I'm kind of waffling on that at the moment. So that is just used for, you know, emergency use only. But I am enjoying playing Call of Duty on my commute, and then when I'm in the train and I don't have any network, I go to RetroArch and I start playing Secret of Mana. I'm getting achievements and stuff on that. It's awesome. I mean, I love having an actual gaming phone. I've minimized carrying around multiple devices. I still do carry around my GPT Win 2, but this largely has been servicing a lot of things, especially with the audio headset out. It's loud enough, especially I've been taking this to the gym, even though it is large. So that's it. Yes, I can recommend it. It's gigantic. You're going to have to make that decision for yourself, and the camera is not great. Additionally, if you must have L2 and R2 as buttons, that is going to be a deal breaker for you as well. Overall, everything else is really good. Excellent. Again, Snail, I hope that you will consider making a slide-out gamepad, because that is a slide-out gamepad and a better camera, and those two things, and that would be my phone forever. Anyway, that's my review of the Snail i7S. Thank you guys so much for staying with me this long. As always, thank you for your time, and thanks for watching.